Guys, Mark the Mentor here, back with another video. This is the channel where we provide clarity and truth in box trucking, and everything centered around the logistics industry. All right, so this is a video that really needs to be put out there. I know I make my content from a different perspective than a lot of the other content creators that are on YouTube, and I try to, give you clarity and truth, and really break things down to you from a business perspective. At the end of the day, this is a business. All right, so it's more to it than just cost per mile or how much I'm gonna make and Amazon relay, middle mile, final mile. You got to look at this from a business. When you look at things from a business perspective, I don't care what industry you're in, they're all businesses, and you have to look at things from a business perspective. You have to understand business as a whole, and then whatever you get into, as long as you go into it with a strong business mind, you should be able to see some sort of success. All right, so there's certain topics that no matter how much I speak on them, it sometimes it just doesn't resonate. All right, it doesn't resonate. So then I have to create new ways and new examples to get my teachings and how to educate people in this industry across, before I can move on to other content to create. You know what I'm saying? I base my content based on the subscribers I have, not the people who watch that don't subscribe, but based on what I see amongst the engagement from subscribers. All right. So what I want to do right now is I want to talk about this box trucking bubble. All right. So we're going to talk economics. All right. We're going to talk bubble. All right. Some people think, oh, well, bubble, you're talking about stock and crypto. Well, you have a stock market bubble, crypto bubble, but there's also other bubbles, industry bubbles, economic bubbles, asset bubbles. Generally, it's the same concept, just in a different industry. We're not talking about the financial industry. We're talking about the trucking industry. And we went through a bubble, and that bubble has popped. All right, so I'm going to break down to you what a bubble is. I'm going to explain the 5 stages of the bubble and how it correlates with what has happened in this industry, what's currently going on. So this is a video that you probably want to stick around and watch if you're seriously vested into the box truck industry, or you're looking to get into the box truck industry and you stumbled across this video and you're trying to educate yourself. So let's get started. What is a bubble? A basic characteristic of financial bubbles is the suspension of disbelief by most participants when the speculative price surge is occurring. It's only in retrospect, after the bubble has burst, that they're recognized to many as an investor's chagrin, and chagrin means distress or embarrassment to an investor or a person who's starting a business. Basically, they're embarrassed or they're distressed due to the fact they started this business and they failed. All right. Nevertheless, some economists have identified 5 stages of a bubble, a pattern to its rise and fall that could prevent the unwary from getting caught in its deceptive clutches. Okay, so there's 5 stages to a bubble, right? You got displacement, you got boom, you got euphoria, you got profit taking, and then you got panic. So what I want to do is I want to break down each one individually and how each one correlates to box trucking. All right, so we're going to do that now, and we're going to start with displacement. All right, so let's talk about displacement. All right, displacement is usually when something hits that changes the whole spectrum of a particular industry. All right, so what happened, what hit, or let's say what can hit, usually there's some type of new technology or just some type of new invention, and it changes the whole landscape of a certain industry. And in most cases, it drives an industry down. All right, well, we know what hit. The displacement was the pandemic, which in turn displaced a lot of people. All right, when the pandemic first hit, everything crashed. Stock market crashed, crypto crashed, the housing market went down. As far as the APRs, you got the lowest interest rates in history, right? So in this industry, the displacement, what caused the displacement was the pandemic, right? A lot of people had to work from home. A lot of people were put out of work. The restaurant industry damn near collapsed. A lot of restaurants went out of business. A lot of those industries where they were non-essential closed, which forced all of those people that worked in those industries to doing gig work and into independent contractor roles or into industries that were essential, right? And it also shifted the mindset of people. A lot of people wanted to become their own boss, right? And then they had the opportunity to become their own boss because there was a lot of money floating around, right? So this was the opportunity that people had been waiting for. You had the PPP, you had the PUA, you had the EIDL, you had all these government infused or these government funded programs that just put out a lot of money into the economy, all right? And some people got this money the right way. Some people went about it the wrong way. That's none of my business. I don't care. I'm just telling you for the point of the video, a lot of money got put out into the economy, right? And a lot of people who had ideas on starting their own business prior that, let's say, didn't have the capital, now they had the capital. All right. Not only do they have the capital, they're kind of forced to a back against the wall situation where they may have come from an industry that was closed due to the pandemic and due to it being a non-essential industry, having to force themselves into an essential industry and be their own boss. And now they have the capital to do it, which puts us to the next point of a bubble, which is boom. All right, so let's talk about boom, but let's put the definition up real quick too. All right, so boom. Prices rise slowly at first following a displacement, but then gain momentum as more and more participants enter the market, setting the stage for the boom phase. During this phase, the asset in question attracts widespread media coverage. Fear of missing out on what could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity spurs more speculation, drawing an increasing number of investors and traders into the fold. All right, so let's break this down. Prices rise slowly at first. Prices slowly began to rise on rental trucks, right? On used trucks. New trucks were scarce, obviously, right? Because manufacturing slowed down. So let's say rental truck companies, they sell their older trucks, right? As the miles get up there in the years, they start selling those on their website. Penske Used Truck Sales, Enterprise Used Sales, right? And then they replace them with new trucks. But because manufacturing slowed down, they weren't able to replace a lot of their old trucks with new trucks, right? So their rates went up, right? Their rates went up, and also not only did the rates slowly start to climb, they have to prolong the older trucks. They have to prolong them, meaning they have to hold on to them longer, right? Because they're not able to replace them with new trucks. They have to have a certain amount of trucks in order to make money. Their business is renting trucks. So without trucks, they have no business, which means they have to prolong the older trucks, right? And make sure their maintenance and make sure their service, because they have to keep them longer so that they can keep their business, right? The rates went up on your load boards. Why did rates go up? Because people were sitting at home, all right? People were sitting at home, so they were shopping more. Not only were they shopping more because they were sitting at home, they were shopping more because they had an infusion of capital. You had the stimulus, PPP, PUA, EIDL, all this free money that was going around back then, right? All right. So because of people shopping more, it drew more people into the industry, right? Because companies were promoting, we need drivers, we need this, we need that, right? That drove the rates up on the load board, right? It drove the rates up on the load board. Final mile, companies started paying more because a lot of people opted out of the industry. Some people were scared of the COVID, so forth, so have you. People had to do things to attract people to come in and take these loads for middle mile and run final mile going into people's homes doing these deliveries, right? It got frustrating at some point. I had guys that complained about wearing masks because they're doing a labor intensive, moving in final mile. It's labor intensive. 80, 90 degree day, you got a mask covering your nose and face, you run up and down the stairs. It can become pretty frustrating. All right. So some guys didn't want to wear masks. Some customers wouldn't allow people into the home. It was just a frustrating time. I had to pay more. All right. And in turn, I had to charge more. I had to pay more to, keep people happy and attract people to come to work. Right. So I had to charge people more. All right. So everything started going up. Used trucks went up, right? New trucks went up because they were scarce. Used trucks went up, obviously, because they were scarce too. Rental rates went up, right? Everything went up, but people were making more money. Prices were up, like I said, to draw in people into the industry. And then on top of that, you had all your false prophets, your fake gurus saying, oh, come into the industry, make $1 million with one truck and all this, that, and the third. But they were selling people on what the state of the industry was at that point. We were in a boom phase. Now, anybody that knows business knows micro and macroeconomics. See, I'm a business major. All right. I did go to school. I do have a college degree in business. All right. So I understand business. All right. What goes up must come down. All right. A lot of people call it a crash. No, in business, we call it a correction. We don't call it a crash. We call it a correction because we understand this is not the norm. We understand we're in a bubble. And we were in a bubble phase when everybody was talking about all these Amazon rates, all this money, da-da-da-da-da. We were in a boom. That's not normal. So everybody that got into the industry last year when rates were high, they think it was going to stay that way. They thought that this was the norm, but it wasn't. And then when the rates went down, it's going to lead us into later on into this bubble. I'm going to break down that euphoria and all those other phases. All right. Fear of missing out. All right. Fear of missing out. We call it FOMOing. All right. So the false prophets, the fake gurus sold people on this dream of getting rich in the box truck industry, and people started investing their money into this industry because they didn't want to, they FOMO'd in, fear of missing out. They wanted to get rich. They wanted to follow what these false prophets were saying, this, that, and the third. All right. A lot of these guys that were selling people this dream ain't even doing it no more. A lot of these YouTubers, if you look at a lot of them, they've been doing YouTube for years and they just jump from one thing to the next, whatever's buzzing at the time. If it's crypto, they talking about crypto. If it's box trucks, they talking about box trucks. If it's stock, they talking about stocks. If it's real estate, they talking about real estate. They're going to ride that wave until that wave dies out. Then they're going to shut that down and jump into the next thing. They're professional content creators. That's what they do. They ride waves. All right. And then people were listening to these people because they were riding their wave because they have a big platform. All right. They have a big platform. You know what I'm saying? So, people have to make their own decisions on who they're going to follow and who they're going to listen to as far as educating them in this industry. All right. Now we're going to go to euphoria. All right. So now let's talk about euphoria. Euphoria. All right. During this phase, caution is thrown to the wind as asset prices skyrocket. All right, valuations reach extreme levels during this phase as new valuation measures and metrics are touted to justify the relentless rise and the greater fool theory, the idea that no matter how prices go, there will always be a market of buyers willing to pay more, plays out everywhere. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. During this phase, caution is thrown to the wind. All right, a good example of that is videos I was putting out in like April and May. Don't buy a box truck right now. Don't get into the industry. I said it. Don't buy a box truck. Prices are going to come down. The only thing I was wrong about was my time frame. I said December. I said January. It happened August, September. All right. But the prices came down and they're steady coming down. All right. How did I know this? It has nothing to do with box trucking. It's economics. What goes up must come down. Like those prices couldn't stay like that forever. You can't expect someone to sell a truck that's worth $25,000, $30,000 for $85,000 forever. Look at the real estate market. Even though we had the lowest APR in history, right? The prices of these properties were still high, sky high. Now look at them, they're coming down. Everybody that bought homes earlier this year is complaining about how much money they lost already. Yeah, you bought a home, let's say for a lower APR, but you paid a lot more for the home. You paid a lot more for the home, right? So it correlates with the trucking. Like, you think you can buy you think people are going to continue to buy trucks that are worth $25,000 for $85,000 forever, right? So the caution was thrown to the wind. You had people like me and other people who were like me that were saying, you know what, maybe you should wait. Maybe you should wait. Maybe you should wait. But then you had the naysayers saying, no, don't listen to him. He don't know what he talking about. He don't know what he talking about, which goes down to this part where it says the greater fool theory, the idea that no matter how prices go, there will always be a market of buyers willing to pay more. It's not true. You're in a state of euphoria thinking that these rates, these high rates are going to stay like this forever. This is not the norm. So yeah, you have people saying, no, it don't matter. The cost of entry may be a little bit higher now, but man, this is always going to be the way it is right now. You're going to still make money. But then those people that went out and bought these trucks at these higher rates, right? And then when the rates drop, now they complaining. Man, I'm not making no money. 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 Or people who rent it high. It's a lot of people that's still in very expensive rentals, right? When the market corrects itself, if you buy into a bubble, let's compare like this. Bitcoin, crypto was bubbling, all right, last year. All right, crypto was bubbling. Bitcoin hit an all-time high, 69,000. The last time I checked the other day was 19,000. That bubble popped, all right? Every 4 years it has a cycle. All right? This industry went through a bubble due to the pandemic. The bubble popped. People were in a euphoric phase thinking that it was going to last forever, that these high rates were going to last forever. And then they were being told, yes, this is expensive, but get in. Don't listen to those people who are telling you don't get in right now. They don't know what they talk about. They haters. They bitter. How am I bitter when I've been in the game since 2010? I'm giving you the best advice. Business is about timing. It's about timing. You can enter into a business at the wrong time. People do it all the time. Why would I invest into a business that's in the midst of a bubble? Look at all these people that bought Bitcoin for 69,000. Whether they bought a whole Bitcoin, partial Bitcoin, they lost. Yeah, it's going to go back up eventually. But that's an asset. You can't compare that to an industry like business. The reason we were in a bubble because of a pandemic. You got to understand business. So yes, the people who bought in at that time were in a euphoric phase. And they were being sold this dream by people saying that no matter how prices go, there will always be a market of buyers willing to pay more. And we see that's not true now because retail is down. Volume is down. The only thing that's up is essentials. So are people willing to pay more? In some cases, but guess what? If there's no money floating around, there's no money circulating, people are going to do what? Not spend money. They're not going to spend money frivolously. Amazon. Oh, that guy don't know what he's talking about. Look, they ain't stopped construction. They scrap plans for building all these fulfillment centers, and they ain't shut down production on ones that's already some of the ones that are currently being built. Why? Buying patterns changed. Buying patterns shifted. So if the idea that no matter how prices go, there'll always be a market of buyers that are willing to pay more is not true. Euphoria. And there were people on YouTube telling people, man, get in now. Don't listen to these people. They bitter and all this. Only thing I was telling people was, man, now ain't the time. The rates are too high. Why buy into a bubble? I didn't say buy into a bubble. I said the rates are too high. They're going to come down. Everything is going to come down. It's going to correct itself. Amazon is shifting their model right now. They're not shifting their model. They're shifting their plans. They see the consumer is shifting. The consumer buying pattern has shifted. So now they're building storage spaces instead of fulfillment centers. 100,000 people out of work. They say, I'm not replacing them. consumers' buying pattern has shifted. So that's that's the greater fool theory. Amazon has money to play with. They can just stop construction and say forget it, and then say, we're going to switch to stores, because we're seeing that consumers are buying more in bulk now, because due to the pandemic, it shifted their behavior. So we have to buy more just in case something like this happens, right? We have a plentiful stock. But because of that, a person who might have went into the store every 2 weeks to go shopping, now they might go once every other month because they're buying in bulk. Their buying pattern has shifted. So Amazon has to shift their current business model to focus on bulk, which is why they're scrapping the fulfillment centers and they're starting to build storage for long term for Amazon sellers. All right, so let's talk about profit taking. All right. In this phase, the smart money, heeding the warning signs that the bubble is about at its bursting point, starts selling positions and taking profits. But estimating the exact time when a bubble is due to collapse can be a difficult exercise, because, as economist John Maynard Keynes puts it, the markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. So basically, the markets can stay irrational. That bubble can stay that way longer than you can stay in business, in easier terms to explain and understand. All right. So in this phase, the smart money, heeding the warning signs that the bubble is about its bursting point. I'm going to give you guys examples of that. All the YouTubers that jump from one thing to the next, right? Jump from one phase to the next, that make a career out of YouTube, let's say, they got out. A lot of them got out earlier this year. They gave you different reasons for getting out, but they're professional YouTubers, right? Which means a lot of them are, you don't even see no more. But some of them, I see they jump from one thing to the next. They were in the stocks, they were in crypto, box trucking, whatever is popping, and that's what they jump to. All right. Obviously, stocks and crypto jump, so they utilize those techniques in stocks and crypto the same way for box trucking, right? All right. When the market was going to crash, when you see signals that the market is going to crash, you sell your money and you get out. All right. You sell your money and get out. Those are people who are riding waves. All right. They're riding their wave. They're going to invest in something on its way up to the top, and then they're going to exit their position, all right, before it comes crashing down. You can't really guess when it's going to come crashing down. You just got to know when to take your wins and get out. That's the way I play the stock market. That's the way I play the crypto market. I knew that the stock market, for example, was booming because of Trump. Trump was infusing the stock market. We had the best stock market, I think, of all time during his presidency. But if you look at it, a lot of those companies weren't valued at what the stock was going for. I bought in the 6 CCIV, which is an electric company that hadn't even produced a car. They hadn't even shipped a car yet, and their stock got to $60 in preparation of a merger. I pulled out at 57.58. It hit 60, then it came crashing down when everything else came crashing down. I took all my money out the stock market before it came crashing down and put it into crypto, because I knew that everybody that was smart money was going to pull their money out and drive up the crypto. Crypto was entering that 4-year cycle. Sure enough, crypto ran up. I pulled my money out of crypto before it came. I pulled my money out of crypto October, November of 2021. Right? Because I was riding those waves. Box trucking is different. I've been in this game since 2010. I made my money years and years and years ago, a bunch of times over. So in a situation like this, I take advantage of a situation because I'm just happen to be here already. But when the shit hits the fan, right, I've already made my money. I didn't jump into this industry during the midst of the rise. I'm riding that wave. A lot of guys jumped in to ride that wave and they jumped out before it came crashing down. But these were the guys that were selling the people the dream. All right. Same thing in the crypto. In the stock market, you got people that talk big. They're fake gurus, we call them. They big up this stuff, big up this stuff, big up this stuff to drive the cost up, right? They're making their money. They invest in, they ride the wave up, and then they pull out before it comes crashing down, and they on to the next thing. But while they riding that wave up, they telling everybody else to get in it, 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 riding that wave, and then they pull out, and then they vanish, and then they leave people what we call holding the bag. You know what I'm saying? So same thing here. You had a lot of people that got in and rode that wave, and then they exited out and took their profits. Now the people who are looking at this in a different way, where I'm investing into it because I want to create a business, I want longevity, the people who bought in, they're the ones that are left holding the bag because they were sold this dream. They weren't told, hey guys, this is a bubble. This bubble is going to burst. Maybe you should hold off. Maybe you should wait, or you should exercise caution entering into the industry. Now, understand that these rates aren't going to stay high, right? So if you're going to enter in, you might not want to buy a truck for $70,000, $80,000 because that truck, it normally doesn't cost that. It's going to correct itself. You know what I'm saying? So if you are going to enter into the industry now, do it with caution. Instead of saying, oh, buy in, this stuff is going to stay the way, guys. Don't listen to those bitter people. They don't know what they're talking about. And I'm just going to let that sit right there. I'm not really going to expound further on profit taking. You got to kind of understand what it is. You know what I'm saying? You got to know what that is. People sold people a dream. They invested. They showed you what they were doing. They made a lot of money because the rates were high. They took their profit, whatever it was, and then they exited out. They had never had plans to stay in this thing for the long haul. And they're not going to tell you the truth. Hey, guys, this is a bubble. It's going to pop. So you might want to enter with caution. And then there were some people just didn't know better. They entered into the industry, and they just are green to the industry as well, and then are trying to sell people on this idea and trying to coach people and mentor people. But really didn't understand the state of the industry at the time themselves. And I'm just going to leave that there on the panic. All right, let's talk about panic. All right, panic, it only takes a relatively minor event to prick a bubble, but once it's pricked, the bubble cannot inflate again. In the panic stage, asset prices reverse course and descend as rapidly as they ascended. All right, so I'm not going to read this next two sentences. It's more to do with stocks than what I'm trying to relate as far as box truck goes right now. So let's talk about this first sentence. All right. Panic is what we're dealing with right now. You got a lot of people that bought in the height of the bubble that are panicking because they're not making any money. All right. A lot of people that FOMO'd in and things of that nature. These are all the people that are panicking right now, trying to figure out how to profit, right? Because they bought in at a time where overhead was high, trucks were high, rentals were high, rates were high, right? And at that time, at the buy-in with the truck rentals and the truck prices, the rates kind of correlated, right? And people were seeing some money, right? Because rates were high, right? Per mile and stuff like that. Then when everything kind of started correcting itself and going down, everybody's panicking. Well, the rates are too low. The rates are too low. Who says the rates are too low? Who says the rates are too low? There's only a certain group of people that are complaining that the rates are low. All right, people that have been in the industry for a while, this is just normal. This is just a normal day in the office, right? And then another thing is people are saying that the rates are too low. That's probably because they bought in at a high buy-in, right? They bought in at a high buy-in. A person who, I know people that can operate their truck off 75 cents to $1. For instance, what I may run my truck at, you may frown upon me because I don't have the overhead that the next person has. You know what I'm saying? If I got a $1,700, $1,800 truck note, right? I can't operate my truck compared to a person who has no truck note at all. You know what I'm saying? A person who has no truck note at all can operate their truck for a lot less. A person who's been in the industry for a lot longer has trucks that are paid for. Insurance might not be that high, and just a lot of different other variables that determine or that contrast with a person who who bought in the height of a bubble. You know what I'm saying? So those are the people that are panicking right now. There's a lot of people panicking. They're just trying to figure things out, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's why I'm creating this video. This is just another way to give examples of what occurred, what's going on, and what to look for in the future, right? So like I said in the time, I'm going to tell you what to do next, all right? So let's get into that, right? If you're in a situation where you bought in this bubble, right, your overhead is high, right? That's why you're probably not making any money, right? So let's talk if you bought a truck, all right? My suggestion, if you bought a truck at a high price, right, and rates are down now, you going to have to work harder. You're going to have to try to pay that truck off as fast as possible, right? You may not be able to sell and get out of it what you bought it for at this rate, right? Because the rates are going down. So you're going to have to really work. You're going to have to take jobs that are really, really paying, right? And like I always say, you may have to hit that road. Staying close to home is not going to get you those big bucks. You got to take jobs that are paying big bucks, and you got to take them consistently. You really got to work. You got to try to pay that truck off as soon as possible. All right. Person who's renting a truck, you have an option. You're renting. You can take that truck back if you want and try again at another time, or you can lean on your rental account manager. You can lean on, look, I've been renting this truck 5-6 months at this high rate. I'm not making any money. The only thing I'm doing is making you guys stay in business. It's not helping me. It's not helping me any. So you got to lean on these rental account managers. I've walked away from accounts. I'm not saying walk away from the industry. I'm not being a negative Nancy, but here's the thing. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. In some cases, some people may have to walk away from the industry right now and re-enter when things are better. All right. I can't tell you as far as how I can predict that, like how I told people 4 or 5 months ago, whenever it was, that the truck rates were going down. That's just economics. That's just business economics. All right. As far as the rental, I don't know when manufacturing is going to pick back up. Right. They said 2022, then they say 2023. Now I'm reading 2024. And in some cases, they're saying manufacturing may not pick back up to the way it was because dealers have got accustomed to doing business the way they've been doing it for the past 2 years on an order basis. We don't have to invest all our money into this overhead, which is new trucks, buying them from the manufacturer, putting them on the lot and waiting for people to come in and look at them, then send a salesman out and try to sell this truck, right? Person wants a truck. They really want a truck. They'll come in. They'll see what we have, the scarce amount we have on the lot. Now, okay, well, here's an order book. Pick what you want. The same way they're doing cars now. Pick what you want. Order it. We'll send an order to the manufacturer. They'll build a truck. We'll call you in 6 months to a year when the truck is on its way here. You can come pick it up. So I can't really give you that answer as far as the rental, when that'll change and then the rental rates will go back to the way they were. That I cannot answer. You know what I'm saying? Insurance is going up because of the way that people are treating the industry. All right. Obviously went up due to inflation, right? But then you got people running off with trucks, people not returning trucks. You got people running off with freight, all type of stuff. I've been reading in the news. I've been hearing about, you know what I'm saying? So that's going to drive insurance up. Another thing for insurance, are things that may be out of your control. A lot of people enter into the industry now are young. They're like 25, 26, 27. Your rates are going to be high anyway. Where do you live? Where's the truck going to be parked? All these things factor into how much the insurance company charges you. Yes, I see a trend with the rentals and the insurance and even the insurance rental. I see a trend. All right. Somebody messaged me today with a lot of stipulations when they reached out to different companies. They're putting caps on the mileage, 150 miles a day. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a brick and mortar business, right? These are all new things that these rental truck companies are implementing, and there's a reason why they're implementing these things. So going forward, I think people just need to focus on the aspect of business, understanding the aspect of business, different levels of business, I think will help a lot of people moving forward. I think you got to be able to forecast certain things. A lot of the things that are occurring now, there were signals months and months and months ago that said we were going to be at this point. All right. In most cases, inflation leads to a recession. All right. In business, you know this. You know what I'm saying? So when people were saying, you know what, it's now the right time, now isn't the right time, and you hear other people saying, man, don't listen to these guys, don't listen to these guys. Man, listen here. I do not care what business you're in. If you're knowledgeable in business and business practices, right, you can succeed in any business you jump into. But first, you got to understand business. All right. And I think a lot of people may not understand just the whole landscape of business. It has nothing to do with trucking. All these forecasts had nothing to do with trucking. All right. So if your overhead is high, which most people that hopped in that bubble, the midst of that bubble, the height of that bubble is, you have to reduce your overhead. I say it over and over and over again. Get out of some of those expensive rentals. Start leaning on these rental account agents. All right. If you got a truck and you stuck with a high finance, you know what I'm saying, or you got a big note, man, you got to work. Try to pay that truck off as soon as possible. All right. Try to pay it off as soon as possible. All right. And so you can start seeing some more of your money. Pick up a book. Take an online business course. All right. In closing, I'm just going to say it again. There's more to this industry than just Amazon, middle mile, final mile, contracts, gig apps. All that's fine, but you got to understand and you got to know business. You got to know the whole landscape of business. You got to be able to forecast and see things before they're coming. All right. You got to know how to move, stick and move. All right. You got to be ready, and you have to be prepared when the storm comes. www.bossyourcourses.com for your mentorship with me. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Hit that notification button so you can stay up to date with all the upcoming videos. And I'm out.
Como, showboat, rowboat, wave ride. Cool shorty, too naughty, pool party, wet for the face ride. Annie up, penny down, hand me down, thrift store, old drip. New money, too funny, old shorty, talk about, oh shit.